All right, we can start. Thank you so much for being on time. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome in live on ServiceNow session. Um, I think we will cover a lot of material today. We'll start. Probably the whole idea is to how you can use digital and user experience to enhance the digital workplace experience using ServiceNow offering. So we'll quickly start the session. I hope you can see my desktop. Um, There is definitely going to be action-packed agenda. We will touch base tax introduction in general. We will touch base what's new in the ServiceNow DEX offering as part of Zurich release. We do have a good good use cases or demo use cases planned to cover up today. And of course, in between of this, keep asking questions as well. With this quick introduction about myself, I'm Jeetu Chauhan, based out of ServiceNow office here in India. I'm part of ITSM BU and primarily working in the product management space, taking care of digital and user experience. Um, One of the latest offering in ITSM BU. I do have Emre with me. Emre, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, welcome everyone. Emre Joshar, product manager in ITSM business unit, but again, working in the digital and user experience product with G2, based in Amsterdam, working on DEX for more than 4 years, most recently now in ServiceNow. Looking forward to hear your use cases and questions.
Awesome, great. Thanks, Emre. Other than Emre, I do have a couple of my colleagues from ServiceNow side gonna help us during the question and answer session. Thanks so much for guys. Let's move on very quickly. Quick housekeeping rules. We do have planned a Q&A session or kind of a Q&A time parked at the end of the session, but don't wait for that. Feel free to post your question during the session itself. You can use Q&A button available in the Zoom window. This presentation or session is going to be recorded and will be available on ServiceNow community site to refer in future. Don't forget to share your feedback. At the end of this session, you will be redirected to online survey. So feel free to provide your feedback so that we can improve Taiwan ServiceNow session in future. Quickly move on. In case if you want to join us in future webinars, you can scan this QR code, you can self sign up or use the link which I posted in the chat window. There is really there are multiple different sessions planned uh, around ITSM or even across the ServiceNow offerings. DEX is also planned as well. So there are a few sessions planned, even DEX as well. In case if you are existing customer or recently you started exploring ServiceNow, we do have some of the other offerings. So if you want to utilize those, then we have ServiceNow Impact, which can help you to transform your business. With respect to ServiceNow offering, we do have ton of training and certifications available to enhance your knowledge, your resources knowledge on the ServiceNow offerings. In case if you want direct help from ServiceNow expert services team, then of course you can engage with them. And expert services, they're super good in terms of guiding to implement the ServiceNow product. Moving on further, before we go to next step, I would like to quickly launch a poll. So I want to understand more about your background, which team you belong. So if you can help us to fill in this short poll survey, I appreciate. Idea here is to understand more about your background so that me and Emre can really frame, some of our thoughts according to the audience demographics. Just give a few more seconds and then we'll end the poll. All right, we're almost done. Thank you so much for responses. Let me share. So Yeah, as usual, I can see a couple of folks from ServiceNow implementation side. We do have representation from digital workplace team, which is really good. And guys, like, feel free to share your experience or your use cases with us. We do have a couple of folks from service test team, which is again fantastic. Um, that's kind of a good sort of mix of audience. All right, let's move on further. Before I hand over back to Emre for a quick text introduction, a reminder about the safe harbor notice in case if we use any forward-looking statement or we use any roadmap items during our conversation, then we don't want your buying decision based on those commitments. Uh, yeah, it's all over you, Emre, if you want to just walk us through the digital end user experience.
Yeah, sure. So we will really touch base on what DEX is briefly, but feel free to ask questions if you have if you have specific things that you want to dive deeper. And we start with what's slowing down IT, right? So today, why are we talking about DEX? Why is it important today? And underlying actually phenomena is like technology promised us productivity gains, but in practice we got more frustration because we are using tens of different applications to do our work. We are using zero touch network access, security tools. We use collaboration tools. All of these systems work together, but overall our experience is not always optimal because either something is not working well, either we can't access something, either devices are not performing as good as we wanted them to be. And in this environment, there's no one view that IT can use to see where a problem originates and how and who should be actually solving that. So with this environment, DEX brings us visibility. So if you move to the next slide, G2. Uh, the first pillar is basically visibility of end user IT estate. So using the agents installed on these devices, we know device performance, application performance, network performance, so that this data is not only accessible through remotely connecting to a device, but it is centrally available for further analysis. In the second pillar, we have this proactive IT via AI-driven insights and automation. So we are not just collecting data. This data is being processed to reveal insights on what is happening, what's the overall experience, what can be the underlying root issues users are experiencing. And not only data and insights, but also actions are possible with DEX. So you can actually take action on the end user's device in terms of clearing a cache, restarting an application, or installing something. So those actions together with insights gives us the automation capabilities. At the end of the day, DEX provides elevated employee productivity by giving you the visibility you need across your IT estate, but also the remediation options that can be utilized to solve issues much faster in an automated manner. And when we go to the next slide, you will see that we have different personas, different groups of users for DEX. Let's start with Service Desk. Today, if someone complains about a device or a collaboration tool, Service Desk agents don't have much information at their disposal, so they need to reach out to the requester about the condition. They might need to have a remote session to dive deeper and do something on the device. Instead of this, DEX can bring contextual incident insights within the service operations workspace, or within the incident's context. You can see DEX data to help you identify what is happening, but you can also take action using remedial actions available in DEX, so that the time to resolve an issue is much faster. The second group of people we serve with DEX is digital workplace or end user computing teams. So these are the teams who provision these devices or sometimes applications. And these applications or devices are at the hands of end users. But without the telemetry on performance and adoption or usage, it's very hard to know how the employees are experiencing these digital tools. So with DEX, critical data such as crashes, freezes, CPU, memory, I/O loads on these devices. If something starts to crash more often than normal baseline, you would be alerted. You can actually identify root issues and take proactive actions to solve those. So you can fix issues before they become major escalations. So this is the promise for digital workplace or end user computing teams. Application teams, again, like these are applications such as CRMs or ERPs or HRMs. So these are critical applications used by the large organization. Without them, business doesn't run as smooth. And a lot of money is being spent on these applications, but there's not much information on how these applications perform in your environment. So you might experience something about your CRM in your geography, but different geography might experience really slow page load times, or certain device groups might have a lot of crashes for installed applications. So with DEX, application teams can understand the performance footprint of these applications and also see who is using these applications and how these are performing, so resulting with higher return on investment and adoption. And for employees, basically, I think this is the largest benefactor for DEX, because we have this frustration. So something crashes, I can't access an application, something is frozen, but I don't really create a ticket immediately. You just go on with your life. And if nobody is really aware of your experiences, it can be just a continuous frustration. With DEX, now IT can see what is happening on each of these devices, and you can actually introduce proactive remediation options, but also self-help options, so that employees can be guided to solve problems even without them creating a ticket. And so basically being proactive, being there, listening, and actually acting on that gives much more confidence to employees, to their IT team, so their NPS eventually increases together with their productivity. And finally, asset management and security teams. So the data on the device performance is quite useful when you provision new devices, when you decide to buy new devices. You might decide, you might identify the laptops or PCs that needs replacement. You might also identify vendors who perform much better in terms of device performance, and this all helps with asset spend, optimizing asset spend, but also from security point of view, risk management. So this is the fifth bucket we serve. And if you move on to the next one, you might have seen this, but I will briefly talk about how all this data is being collected. So we have an agent client collector installed on the devices. That is our source of data, basically recording the CPU, memory, and every other metric we are measuring. We have a browser extension to monitor SaaS applications. So you configure a URL to be monitored, and then it starts to monitor page load times and page visits for that application. And there's a desktop assistant installed on the devices. That's optional, but if you install that, it gives you another engagement channel with the end users, but also users can go there to self-solve some of the issues. And all the data is being collected in our backend, and we have dashboards to help you identify the device health and application health issues. We have alerts that can be configured to guide you, to warn you when something is not right. And you have also proactive engagement and remediation options. So this is a very much a workflow type of configuration. So if this happens, do that. So there are a lot of tickets we see across customers that are repetitive and low value. So it just takes time for service desk, but they are usually doing several repetitive steps. Those things can be automated with proactive engagement and remediation workbench. So if, let's say, Zoom is freezing a lot, you can introduce a workflow to restart Zoom and maybe clear cache. So those kind of actions are available in the proactive engagement configurations. And we have a DEX score that actually is used to collect all these metrics to roll up to a top level metric to give you an idea about how the overall digital experience is evolving. And you can always dive deeper to see what groups of devices are experiencing issues and what is the root issue. So you can have more strategic conversations on where to invest your time. With that, I spoke a bit fast, but let me take a moment to see if you have any questions.
And it's a fantastic intro, Ambre. I can see one question in the Q&A section. The question is, in my For your organization, we use Microsoft as orchestration tool for collecting data from different tools such as Dynatrace, SolarWind to detect issues and self-heal. Well, ServiceNow DEX has all the capabilities to integrate with all tools and show it as a dashboard for easy monitoring, self-heal for faster remediation.
Yeah. A good question. So DEX itself is a data source. It's not a data aggregation or analysis platform. In ServiceNow, there are different ways also to collect data from different resources, but DEX is basically primarily to collect this device level data, and it's not about bringing multiple data sources together, but it can be a data source for such an analysis for such other tools. Do you want to expand on that, G2?
No, I think you covered, frankly speaking, Emre, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Suresh is aware about some of the other capabilities that we do have as part of our IT operations offering, where we do all these kind of integration surface as part of IT ops, but not as part of a end user experience
Yeah.
perspective. All right. I think we are really moving, and thanks for motivation, Bob. Hey, yeah, keep asking question. Um, with respect of time, I want to just quickly move on to next section. So I want to just quickly touch base on what's new in Zurich. So in case if you are new in the ServiceNow ecosystem, every year we do have two major releases where we deliver a lot of new capabilities to our customers. So Zurich is one of them recently released, and I will not touch base everything, but at least I want to just give you a quick idea how this entire text journey um, really moved in from 2024 Washington release to Zurich here. So if we talk about very recent one as part of Zurich, we released something around Teams monitoring or Teams quality monitoring perspective. So where DEX is having capability to integrate with Microsoft Teams and collect some of the data quality related metrics surface within DEX. To help service desk team. We do have something like guided setup. So in case if you are familiar with ServiceNow ecosystem, so every product is attached with guided setup. That's a super easy way to help our customer to adopt our product faster and an easy way. So guided setup is also available as part of tax offering. We do have bulk actions remediation available as part of Zurich. So we will demonstrate even some of the capabilities as part of our demo in few minutes. In case if your organization really focus more on the ESG or you want to contribute in the carbon footprints, you want to calculate those numbers because of your security compliance or compliance perspective, then of course we do have that capability also available to surface ESG information within dashboards. Other than this, we do have something like events. So now, as part of Zurich, we do start even capturing and surfacing the device level events, which is super handy sometimes when teams they are investigating critical issues and really they want deep dive. Hey, how the events pattern look like from device. So that is also available as part of Zurich. And also we scaled, so you can see like we are supporting a good number of devices to help our large organizations, large enterprises to adopt X. With this, I'll just quickly move on and talk little more on bulk remedial action or Teams call quality metrics. So as part of Zurich, we do have option where service desk team or DEX engineer they can utilize bulk remedial actions, which is nothing but remediating issues in case if you want to target multiple devices one shot. So that's the overall use case of bulk remedial action, and we will touch base this as part of our demo in few minutes. Again, Microsoft Teams monitoring. So considering ServiceNow partnership with Microsoft ecosystem, we do have option where you can integrate ServiceNow DEX with Microsoft Teams APIs, and we or DEX solution can collect those quality specific metrics and surface within DEX itself, to be utilized with various different use cases. So maybe one or two will surface as part of demo in a few minutes from now. Moving on further, it's demo time. We do have plans, 4 and 5 different use cases targeting different personas. I would like, Emre, if you can just quickly briefly touch base on those use cases, and then we'll start the demo.
Yeah, so let's start with the first one. So we are talking about our workplace engineer, Kellen, and we will look into how DEX data can be used to proactively identify an issue. And in this case, we will look into a crash originating from Outlook applications and how it can be fixed for all the affected users. So this results in fewer incidents and less downtime. The second incident, second flow is about Ravi, our IT agent or IT operator, and we see how DEX data will be revealed in the incident view, in issue view, in service operations workspace, and how an agent can actually dive deeper to diagnose a root issue related to Teams application, and how actually this agent can remediate an issue, which actually results in faster MTTR and higher first call resolutions. The third one is about employees' point of view. You see the trend, so we'll start with a really top level Kellen workplace engineer, then the agent, and then you shift left further, and the employee actually will be notified when DEX identifies something wrong in their device, and the employee Martin will be guided on self-resolution, which actually helps with ticket deflection and actually improves the productivity of end users. The fourth one is about, again, Kellen. Here, in this case, we are looking at DEX score as a top level, like a strategic initiative to see where we need to spend our energy on. And then we will also see how a targeted campaign can help reduce number of tickets and improve the device performance for your employees. And the last one is again about Kellen. We will look into configurable DEX dashboards. So all the data being collected is actually available for you to further slice and dice using the dimensions within your environment. So we will look into that experience to quickly see how you can actually create your own reports or dashboards. With that, we can maybe start with the first one. And I take over the screen share. Yeah. So here we are seeing Kellen, our workplace engineer, and this is service operations workspace. And Kellen has DEX right. So the view we have is showing him the number of active alerts, the devices affected by all these alerts, and number of active devices. I also have the location information for these devices. When I click on active alerts, I can see these alerts are basically conditions we specified, right? So if certain number of crashes for an application is detected, raise an alert. If let's say CPU usage for certain group of devices are beyond what we think is acceptable, raise an alert. So you have these conditions that can create different alerts. In this case, when I see this list, critical alert is catching my eye, increase in Outlook crashes. And I click on the alert. So what I first see is number of impacted users and devices. So it's the blast radius. And I also see the configuration item being Outlook. So this is the advantage of using ServiceNow DEX. All your data in your CI is also connected to the data we collect with DEX. When I click on Outlook, I can see related attributes, but also what changed, because that's usually the first question you ask. So something is crashing more than crashing, and then I'm receiving an alert. Why did this happen? Did something change recently? And I can see actually recently a new version of Outlook was introduced a couple of days ago, and that's my first clue. But this is not it, right? So we have the application health dashboard, which gives us information about overall alerts and incidents for this application. But the performance tab gives me information about this application's performance, right? So this is the first chart I see. A certain version of Outlook is crashing heavily, and it has been happening for the last 2 hours. I can also look at it for a longer period of time and see actually this happened, started to crash a few days back, which correlates with the introduced version, new change introduced, right? So we can actually understand the new version of Outlook was introduced and it's crashing. I have more metrics on freezes, CPU usage, memory usage, IO read and write. But the first group of metrics, first metric about crashes already gives me a good idea about why this alert might be triggered. Now, this happens quite often whenever you introduce a new version of Outlook. All the people, the employees who have cached emails on their devices sometimes have these kind of issues because a new version of Outlook is not always compatible with older version of cached files. Uh, Straightforward way to solve this is clearing cache for these devices. Now, with this release, with Zurich release, we have this capability to remediate issues at once for all these affected devices. So what I'm going to show you is bulk remedial actions. In the alert view, I have this remediate issue on devices, which shows me all the devices that are affected with this specific crash. And I have several remedial actions at my disposal. Clearing application cache or any other remedial actions can be applied. In this case, I'm going to use this one. But of course, for demo purposes, we are actually making it immediately remediation. Normally, you might want to send them a communication about this change happening, right? So we know that you are having crashes for Outlook. We know this happens because sometimes you have old cached files that can be incompatible, and we will actually clear your cache, which means you will have indexing next time you open Outlook. So you can have this kind of communication, but for now, we are skipping that step and sending a remedial action for the sake of demo. Now, what's happening here is it asks me if I get the user's approval, and then the moment I say yes, I will also choose the application I want to clear the cache for. And with this, we can actually start sending these remediations to the affected devices. So what happened so far is an issue was identified, and we actually saw a certain version was causing that. We actually correlated with us introduced with a recent change, and we actually fixed the issue for the affected devices.
Certainly. Yeah. Thanks, Emily, for taking us through Kalen and bulk remedial option. I want to just quickly touch base on the second flow, which is around Ravi Kapoor, ID operator service test person, who, so basically Ravi, I want to surface how Ravi can use text metrics and identify the root cause faster, or even remediate the issue faster, right? So that's what the whole purpose is. I will go to my instance and logged in as Ravi. So what Ravi is going to do, Ravi will just starting his day and want to start with like, hey, what is assigned to him? Seems like he got a new incident assigned, which is really around Teams call quality. So seems like there's a user Martin and reported like facing a couple of issues with the Teams call quality. So Ravi is gonna investigate this incident. Um, and of course, it is clearly mentioned like seems like the end user is facing call quality challenges with Microsoft Teams, like choppy voice or call drop. So what first thing Ravi can do is Ravi can validate, why this user is feeling there is an issue with the call quality. Do we have some scientific evidence to move it further to prove like, hey, do we have some kind of a matrix where Ravi can validate this? So what Ravi can do is Ravi can see uh, affected CIs and impacted services. So in our case, impacted services is Teams. So Ravi is gonna open the Teams section here. And of course, there are multiple different information available, but I want to just highlight to using this view application health, which will redirect me to the application health page. And that's where even Emre was talking a few minutes back about various different metrics, right? I want to just quickly highlight on the section here, which is call quality. Since Teams is communication application. So, uh, as part of Zurich, we are collecting now call quality related metrics. So, as in Ravi, I want to investigate further and see if DEX recorded metrics around poor call quality that end user, reported back to services team. So, I will just quickly go and see if Martin as a user. So whole idea is to revalidate the issue with the scientific method and see if we have matrix around the poor call quality. So here we go. So I can see, you know, poor call qualities here, which is really a great in volume. If I go further down, then I can see, zigzag kind of a graph, just showing calls over time. And this clearly showing like there are a few even poor call quality recorded. Similarly, if you go further down, we do have high packet loss, which is one of the indicator, and of course high jitter, which is clearly indicating me, hey, there are some issues with the call quality that Martin is facing during his meetings. If I want to go deep dive further, I can go to call quality metrics. I can see, I can utilize the call timeline to figure out if there is any specific time period where end user, facing a lot of call quality issues. So I can utilize this, and seems like this is something throughout the day, so not just limited to a fixed time. Some of the other information around session or connection type. So with this, by looking this call quality metrics um, from Teams, it is clearly established like there are certain issues even reported by DEX as well. So now I want to just revalidate if Martin is facing this issue because of some poor network quality or poor Wi-Fi strength, right? So super easy for me. I will go back to my incident um, and take a step back. There is an investigation tab available in front of me with an incident page. So I'm gonna go to investigation tab. I can deep dive further to Martin's device and see like what's happening with his device by just clicking device health. And you know what, Dex collect various different metrics. So there is no point of talking each and everything. But as a service desk person, Ravi, I want to just quickly revalidate the network thing, right? So make sure the call quality issue is not related to some poor network quality. Here I can see signal strength looks good in Martin's device. Even Wi-Fi signal strength is also good. So seems like there's no possibility of having network issues. Um, Now I can go back and again same incident page. So that's the beauty of ServiceNow. Like I don't need to move, different tools altogether. Everything is available at the same place. So within incident page investigation tab, what else I can see is I can see some of the metrics which is coming directly from Martin's device. So I can observe here there's a high memory utilization or even high CPU utilization, which is indicating me there is a possibility to having overutilization of critical resources from Martin's device. If I go further down, I can also determine there's an application actually which is consuming almost 50% of the CPU resource from Martin's device. So that could be kind of a good indicator for me to understand like, hey, this is what is the root cause. Why Martin is feeling like there is an issue with the call quality because 50% or more than 50% resources utilized by this app itself. So of course, device will struggle to supply the resources to teams. So that's how you can see how easy it is for Ravi to use text speed tricks to figure out the root cause. Not only just that, even Ravi is having power to remediate that issue, right? So um, Ravi can select this process and even utilize remedial action within the incident page. So for example, if I want to end this process to free up some of the critical resources from Martin's device, so that he can really go away from the call quality issues, then I can see there's a playbook triggered in front of me. I can use this playbook. Of course, I'm gonna mark this. I already got the approval from Martin, but in real world scenario, always recommended to have that um, approval with the end user. I'm gonna run this action, so I'm gonna end this process actually to resolve the issue faster, right? And you can see remedial action is actually completed. So it's executed in maybe a second or two. Just waiting to refresh this matrix and see if that issue is gone now. Here we go. So I can see all these threshold values now in normal range, so which is kind of a good indication for me. And I can see that process was consuming 50% CPU resources also, um, and now. So seems like that issue got resolved. Now, uh, as a service desk person, I always want to punch in my work notes or historical information. So that like I have a contextual information as part of incident itself. So what I'm going to say, like just a summary, what was the observation and how I, took the action by ending the process. Posting the work notes, and there we go. Now it's time to resolve the incident. So you can see the power of ServiceNow platform. We do have something like AI, capabilities. So AI can generate even resolution notes automatically based on the activities that I perform. So here you can see solution provided, and I can see the resolution notes, populated by now assist capabilities, and I'm going to resolve the issue here. So you can observe like how easy it is for me as a service desk person to identify the issue faster and resolve the issue even faster than ever. I'll just take a pause if you have any question before jump into the next use case. All right. So keep asking question if you have anything in between. One of our colleague can respond you. So I'll just quickly move on to the third use case. So Emery was talking about as an end user, right? So third use case is all about end user perspective, and I want to showcase capability how DEX can surface some of the self-help options in front of user, and as end user can utilize those actions. Um, so ultimately goal is to reduce the ticket volume, reduce the burden on services team, and promote self-help. So let me go back here and let me impersonate Martin. So Martin is an end user. So while Martin is logging to his page, I'm not sure if you're familiar about the Employee Center, but Employee Center is a ServiceNow solution for end user related activities. So I'm gonna, as a Martin, I'm gonna open um, Employee Center, and let's see. Um, So here, Martin can see there's a message surface in virtual agent. And by the way, I'm just taking example of virtual agent, but in case if you are using ServiceNow integration with Microsoft Teams, then of course your end users in your organization can see the similar message or similar experience within Teams itself. Or if you're using desktop assistant, of course, you'll have a similar kind of experience there. So as in Martin, I can see there is a VA conversation started, and I can see notification here, which is really talking about, there is a there is some issue detected by DEX around Zoom application. Seems like Zoom is unresponsive. So you can see how DEX can proactively identify the issue and let end user know like there is some issue detected around your application, so that as an Martin, as an end user, can be better prepared for his customer meeting. So here I can see as an Martin end user, I can see the notification, I can see the issue with Zoom. Not only just that, DEX is smart enough to even offer some of the remedial action to end user. So if you see here, in case if Martin, want to utilize those remedial action, then can click on the yes, I want help. So you can see there is a remedial action is gonna run in the background, and here we go. So we can see DEX really ran through one action, which is kind of a restarting the Zoom app because of unresponsiveness of the Zoom application. And that's how DEX is helping end users to promote self-help, reduce the burden on service desk team, avoid the incident creation. So that's the power of DEX is bringing, to all the customers. With this, if you have question, Emily, we can take. Otherwise, with respect to time, we can move on to next um, demo.
Yeah, we don't have any question, but just to reiterate again, Martin did not need to be actually EC demo to see this, right? So this could be actually be made visible through the Teams. So that means an employee can be notified of this in a proactive manner without them needing to create a ticket or without them needing to go to a portal. So that's, I think, the real power in this workflow.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. Agreed.
Cool. So I can take over for the next one. We are going to again look at Galen, and we will see how DEX scores can help identify the organization level experience issues. So here we are looking at, again, Service Operations Workspace, and I clicked on our DEX module here, Digital Experience Score module, which gives me an overview of DEX score. A DEX score is a score that's computed using DEX-related metrics and some other dimensions, which I will explain in a second. But in reality, we have two buckets. One is device experience, and the other one is application experience. And these are aggregated into an overall DEX score, which you can see the trend and also the distribution for different geographies. Now, I look at device experience, which seems to be trending downward. And I can see different devices with their experiences. There are different devices that device groups that might need my attention. And I look at the one that has the lowest score, and I see the overall device health metric score and also the user sentiment score. So this is a score which is computed based on the surveys you send within the scope of DEX to see how these end users are experiencing their digital tools. And also we have another contributor called Service Experience, which gives us ideas about their service desk experience in terms of MTTR or other satisfaction scores. So all these three are used to compute a device group score. And let's have a look at the first group, which is the main metric group from DEX, device health metrics. I can see there are metrics that are performing good and some other metrics that are performing not so good. And when I click on those, I can see actually for these devices, CPU, disk, and memory are overloaded, right? So these are beyond our acceptable limits, which actually makes them tagged as poor. In general, this happens quite often. Some devices are not as powerful as others. And one way there are different strategies to take action to solve this kind of device health issues. But one strategy is to restart these devices frequently. So you might want to send notifications to these devices to restart them every week. But with DEX, you don't need to rely on just blind notifications. You can send it to devices who haven't really restarted for the last 7 days. And let's have a look at this journey. So how we can actually notify a certain group of devices or users based on a metric we are collecting. So we do this using metric rules. By the way, all the alerts or proactive remediations that G2 was presenting in the previous demo are configured using the metric rules. So here I'm going to look at this one called system reboot, notification to remind system reboot. And first off, I can choose a group of device or an application or installed application to create a rule. In this case, I'm going to choose a device group, which actually I'm choosing all devices in my environment, but I could scope it down to a certain location or a user group, etc. In this case, I'm looking at the metric related to this metric rule. So in this case, device uptime, but we have a lot of different metrics that can be used for this kind of metric rules. If device uptime is larger than 7 days, in this case, I'm just changing it so that I can show you how it would affect an end user. If it is longer than 7 days, I would like something to happen. And that thing to happen is configured in this third step using a proactive resolution workbench. So here we are talking about a system restart. So we know that you haven't actually, like these end users haven't restarted their devices for a certain group, a certain time. And we know that this can result in slow performance or in general device performance issues. So we are basically introducing self-help instructions. So we are guiding them that they might benefit from restarting their devices. but I could have chosen remedial actions, which would be a similar journey as G2 presented in the previous iteration. So this is how all these things are configured, and I can choose to send a notification or an engage user, and the channels I have are virtual agent, desktop assistant, or email. In this case, I'm using a virtual agent or desktop assistant. Okay, so at the moment I move forward and then update. Now this rule is now activated. And let's see how an end user will receive this notification. Here I'm again moving to Martin. Martin would normally receive this through their Teams application if they have virtual agent integrated with Teams, or it could be a system level notification if they have desktop assistant installed in the environment. But for the sake of demo, I'm showing it in the employee center interface. So this is again a proactive notification. The user does not need to do anything, but we are actually sending a notification for those users who haven't restarted their devices for a period of 7 days. And when this page loads, I will see that notification. Let's give it another second. Meanwhile, if you have questions or comments, please feel free to ask it in chat or in Q&A. This is our demo environment. Normally it's not as much as slow, but let me refresh. I see someone raised their hand, so maybe we can take this time to answer a question or see the comment. G2, can you help us maybe unmute?
Yeah, sorry, I was talking to mute. I think there was one hand raised by Rohini, I believe.
Yeah,
I
but
think-
maybe it was a, I don't know if it was an accident.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, feel free to type your question, Rohini, in the Q&A section.
Yeah. So then I assume we don't have more questions. And I will proceed. So this is what an employee will see, and the notifications show up here. I'm waiting for the notification to pop up here. But what will happen is I will see a notification about the system restart. But I can also, or actually it's here, right? So sometimes it takes a bit of time for this to show up, but normally this is the notification I would see, like as a pop-up. You haven't really restarted your device for the last 7 days. Please do that. These kind of campaigns are quite powerful because we know that restarting devices really reduce the number of tickets employees are registering. So this is definitely a very useful way to manage that kind of device performance issues. With this, I'm going to move to the next demo, which is about configurable dashboards. So all the data we saw in the dashboards or in the different views when we presented the demos are available also in our tables. In this case, I'm looking at platform analytics. This is our basically dashboarding platform, right? So you have DEX data together with any other data you might have in the ServiceNow instance you have, and I can create different reports. Of course, we have out-of-the-box reports and dashboards, but I can slice and dice based on the dimensions I have in our environment. So in this example, I'm looking at devices with high CPU usage by model ID. Just to give you an idea about the level of detail I can analyze this data with, I will show you how this is configured. So I'm looking at actually a table from DEX that shows me the average metrics for device-related performance metrics. And I can count number of devices with very high CPU usage and group them by device model ID, but there are so many other dimensions I can break it down to. So this helps with, for example, identifying device groups that are not performing well, or you might want to see different organizational units and their experience or locations, etc. So this is a straightforward way of creating these dashboards, and it gives us basically many opportunities to implement other or serve other use cases beyond what is available. I will again stop here and see if we have questions.
Yeah, super helpful, Emre. I don't see any active question, um, but I'm sure like I can wait for a few seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, frankly speaking, that's what we target to cover in today's session.
Yeah.
Um, in case if you want to learn more about DEX, yeah, we do have a really YouTube playlist available, and we do have demos recorded available, so you can watch them. You can learn more about ServiceNow DEX offering. Link is posted in the chat window. Feel free to respond the poll survey. In case if you want to have conversation with the ServiceNow product team and you want ServiceNow expert to be part of the DEX journey, feel free to say answer yes of second poll question. Almost done, guys. If you can
Yeah,
respond.
I remember a lot of our participants are from ServiceNow implementation teams. We also talked about these use cases touching different teams in the organization. So feel free to reach out to them, talk about this tool and how it can actually help their day-to-day operations, because this data is really essential to deliver a good digital experience to the end users. And we just scratched the surface. So these are very basic use cases. There's so much more data and different ways to engage with the users in terms of campaigns or remedial actions. So you can create also your own remedial actions. At the end of the day, we have the data, we have options to remediate on devices, and we have a workflow engine that can take action depending on certain conditions you create. So this gives you a really nice platform to operationalize all this data and to improve your IT operations and service desk operations. Just my last 2 cents.
Yeah, awesome, Emily. And thank you so much for responding to the poll question. If you want to join us in future webinars, again, quick reminder, you can self-sign up by using the link which I posted. Yeah, we do have really different session plan on different set of offerings from ServiceNow side, including DEX. Thank you so much for joining us in the session today. I hope you learn about digital end user experience. Thank you so much, Emre, Chris, and Eleanor to keep with us and helping us on the questions and presentation.